In this video, we're going to talk about how to structure an essay about any change, any kind of change. This will work for a class in sociology, political science, natural science, or any other discipline, because in any of these disciplines, you could describe a change. For example, in sociology, it could be a social change. In political science, it could be political change. Natural science, a change in environment. And the same goes for any other discipline. So let's do it. So the biggest challenge when writing an essay is coming up with material. And the easiest way to keep your ideas flowing is to break your topic into subtopics. Change is the subject of our essay. And again, the easiest way to break up a topic is to use the power of 3. And let's do it with change. Now, change consists of 3 things, obviously. First one is before. What was before the change? So this section will answer the question, what was the subject like before the change happened? And the subject could be anything. It could be the society, could be somebody's health. It could be anything. Again, any subject that could undergo a change. The next part is the changing events, meaning what brought about the change. In other words, what were the events or the actions that brought about the change, that resulted in a change. And finally, the after part. Of course, the change involves before, then what happened, and then after. And this will answer the question, what was or is the subject like after the change? So let's see how this would look in a sample structure. Let's say I'm writing an essay about how I lost weight. So in section 1, I'll talk about how I was before the change happened. In section 2, I'll talk about what I did, exercise, diet, whatever it took. And then in section 3, I'll talk about what I was like after. And here's how I would structure the main sections. I would divide them into subsections. For example, in section 1, I will talk about how I felt and how I looked before I lost weight. Now, these are 2 subsections. And the first one about how I felt, and the second one about how I looked. Now, in section 2, I'm going to talk about the actions or events that allowed me to make this change. Exercise, diet, whatever actions took me to bring about the change. And in section 3, naturally, I'm going to talk about again how I felt after the change and how I looked after the change. And this is a very easy and simple way to discuss any change.